If you want great photos, you've got to find great locations, right? And there are good locations all over the world, but how do you find them for when you're actually there? Well, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to find the best photo locations no matter where you are in the world every single time. Hey, my name's David Johnson, and I've been using this technique to find locations all over the world for over 15 years now. Most recently, finding these locations in Iceland on my first trip there after I had never even been to the country, never seen it except on a fly through going into Europe. So this is how on the ground that I was able to find these places. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to snag one of these, and chances are you already have one of these in your pocket, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. You're going to grab one of these and you're going to go on an app you probably already have. It's called Instagram, if you've never heard it before, and geotags on Instagram are actually a great place to start, especially for those locations when you want to go to maybe one of the places that you've seen photos of 1,000 different times, and you just want to capture your own version of that place, which is great because there's nothing better than capturing your version of a famous place. We all love seeing those locations. Geotags on Instagram work in the search feature, and all you really have to do is find that location. So for example, in Iceland, I wanted to go to Kirkjufell, and Kirkjufell is a very famous waterfall in front of a mountain scene. I had never been there before. I was going on a quick stop first thing in the morning, so I didn't even have time to scout. But going through geotags on Instagram, I was able to find the best vantage point, and even clicking over into the map feature, I was able to find kind of the location and the direction that I needed to face to actually get this shot that I was wanting to frame up and capture in my camera. So that was a huge help. Not only finding these locations, you can also find different locations through the geotag feature. So if you search like a region like Western Iceland, or maybe you're saying you're visiting California for the first time, you're going to another location for the first time, you can actually search these geotags and just scroll through the different options that you see. Chances are there's some locals that are going to be on there that have gotten different kinds of compositions that you may want to try out. And there's never a bad opportunity to try out a different composition based on where you are, trying out a different look, maybe even a different lens. And that can really switch up how you're seeing a location versus how all the popular photos of that location are. That's a great way to put your own spin on visiting a location that's popular and famous, and you can kind of put your own spin on it and make it yours. Now, I'm actually going to have to credit my wife on this one because she did a great job on all of our photo trips this past year, planning out those geotagged locations with actually finding new locations along our route using ChatGPT. AI is insane. It's amazing. It learns who you are, so allow it to learn who you are as a photographer, what you like to take photos of, who you're traveling with. On our trip in Iceland, we actually went through, and this is something that I've used several times before too, we went through several drives that were 2 hours long, and that could have made, we have a 4-year-old, so it could have made that drive pretty miserable. But to be honest, going with ChatGPT and it learning who we are and who we're traveling with, it would suggest small hikes to some pretty cool photo locations that I never would have been to myself. And it would say this would be a great experience to break up the car ride for your 4-year-old. Yes, kind of creepy that it actually knows us like that, but now I love it because it makes our trips better. A lot of times this can even lead you to great photo locations because it knew that I was a photographer, so it would suggest actually the best times of day to go and photograph some of these locations that I had never heard of, that I had never seen many pictures of, and I was excited to go out and see them. Do they all work out? Absolutely not. But was it cool to have these recommendations to us? Absolutely. It was fantastic to find different places along the way and break the drive up into 45-minute segments. Another thing to do is actually ask locals when you're there. ChatGPT knows a lot of stuff, but it doesn't know everything that the locals know. And a lot of times there are some good secrets kept by the locals, and in other countries and other parts of the world and local communities, I think there are some really nice people out there who just want to feature their location great. So they might tell you, hey, yeah, this location, this waterfall is really cool. It's really well known. But if you just hike up the trail like another 30 minutes, maybe a half mile, you're going to be met with a jaw-dropping scene that actually nobody goes to. And I think that's one of the really fun parts of travel and meeting other people and experiencing other cultures, is being able to get those experiences and going along that way. Now, in your planning, I mentioned ChatGPT would do a really good job of allowing you to see where these locations were, what time of day to get to. Planning as photographers is so important. So I would highly suggest using apps and websites like Photographer's Ephemeris and PhotoPills, which is the app that I use a lot. You can learn how to use PhotoPills with this tag on your screen right here. But PhotoPills is an amazing tool that you can use to plan out where the sun is going to be, the moon, the Milky Way, at any time of day, any day, into infinity. It's insane how it works, and it has tons of features on there too. I have a website called Landscape Photography University, and I have a whole platform and course based on how to use that and how to apply it to your compositions, your editing, and do the whole complete workflow to improve your photography. That's linked below in the video description, and I'll also pin it in the pinned comments for you too if you want to check that out. But now let's get to something that has been a total game changer for me when it comes to planning out photo locations and actually seeing what they're going to look like before you even get on the ground. This is like planning out your photos before you put boots on the ground, before you even take off on your flight, before you even book your Airbnb. This is what you need to do. Okay, so for the sake of this tutorial, I've been talking about Iceland a lot, so I'm going to type in Google Earth. And maybe a lot of you are like, okay, Google Earth, this has been around for so long, this is really not that big of a deal. But this is exactly how you use it for your photo locations and getting the best photos without actually being here. You see, I have all these Iceland trips set up on my screen. The reason I did that is because you can actually save your geotags as a trip. So if I click on one of these and it zooms out, you can see all the pins that I've made around the entire country. It's a great way to plan out what your trip is actually going to be like. But what does it even look like before you get there? What is the composition going to be like? This is even down to how you can plan out what kinds of lenses that you want to take with you when you go out to shoot. So since we've been doing Iceland as an example, let's just go ahead and see what that may look like. So I'm going to come over here to Kirkjufell, which is probably right here. Yep, there's Kirkjufell Mountain. And there's a little area right here where you go over a bay. And you may think, okay, that would be a really cool photo location. But going around on Google Earth, you can see different parking lots that you can park in. And then as you zoom in, you can say, oh, well, here's a little waterfall and here's a pin that says scenic spot with iconic waterfall and peak. So if I take this little person, I can actually drop them along this trail and it can zoom in to different photos that people have already taken, 360 cameras to see what it's going to look like. You can even say hey to some of the people who have already been there before. And really cool how you can just zoom around. Now, this is the actual vantage point that I was able to use when I was there, and pretty much the exact same composition that I got when I was there too. You'll notice on here as it's really, really crowded. This is a pretty popular photo location, people on the bridges. So how do you get there and photograph this scene without all of those people in the frame? You just get there really early in the morning, or you stay up all night in the summertime because they have the midnight sun there, and you can get these photo locations without any distractions or anything like that. So one of the other cool things about this, if I hit back, I can actually take this little person and hover around any of these other dots. So you see some of these other dots further down the trail. I can drop my person on that spot and say, oh, okay, well, there's even a photo spot little down here on the bay a little bit more. If I zoom out a little bit more, I can come down here even further. Let's say I wanted to hike all the way down here to the edge of this pond, and I can see, ooh, this might be a cool location for winter photography. Maybe even coming over here to the road, you see another blue line. Anywhere there's a blue line or a dot, you can have a pretty good idea of what this location is going to look like, even if you wanted to stop by here in the middle of winter. Let me show you how you can use this tool to get some good hacks on avoiding crowded locations, but getting the exact same kind of photo. If I go back here and I go back to the entire map that I have set up, you can see all of the routes that we had planned out. If I go over here to what would be Black Sand Diamond Beach, I was way off with that one. We're now way over here. You can see that there are two different locations that you can actually go here. So we had on this pinned right over here with this blue pin. As I scroll around, you can see that there's a huge parking lot right here, which is where we parked and where all the other cars parked as well. You also had to pay for this parking, which was pretty expensive because it was so crowded. You can also park over here, but you see this is divided by a body of water where all of these glacier pieces can break off and go out into the beach. Now we set up here and I was able to get some pretty cool photos on Diamond Beach. You see some of these little icebergs that have washed up on the beach here. But the problem is it was so crowded, I had to walk like half a mile just to get away from a good number of people. I noticed on our drive back that there was another parking lot on this side that didn't even really have a lot. It was just a couple cars and it got the exact same view, same effect of the icebergs floating up on the beach. There was just no crowd whatsoever. So had I known that, and had I used something like Google Earth to figure this out and see different locations that I could get to, I would have known, okay, I'm not even gonna stop at this other parking lot. I'm gonna stop at Diamond Beach Lookout instead and just come down this little gravel road and come to this parking area right here and avoid 99% of the crowds that we had to battle with pretty much the entire time we were at Diamond Beach, which wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it also wasn't too convenient when you were there trying to get a picture that looked like nobody else was there and there were like hundreds of people around us. Remember, great photo locations aren't just discovered, they're researched, and you have to put in the research as part of the photography process. If you want the full process on how to take your photos from meh to wow, you actually took that photo, go ahead and click the link down below to register for Landscape Photography University and enroll now. That is on sale for a limited time, so definitely check that out. And if you're new here, you liked what you saw, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Here's another video that I think you're really gonna like and is gonna help out your photography a ton too.